You to be his voice in the midst of devastation. Ezekiel's life shattered at 25, his people defeated, his home destroyed, and his dreams as a temple priest buried in the ashes of exile. Living among captives in Babylon, he wasn't just mourning his city, he was mourning his purpose. How could he serve when the temple was gone? But by the Kibar River, everything changed. The heavens opened, winds howled, and flames roared. Ezekiel was consumed by a vision of creatures unlike anything imaginable, wheels blazing with radiant light, and above it all, the glory of God. Imagine standing before a presence so overwhelming it takes your breath away. Then a voice thundered, "Son of man, I am sending you to a rebellious nation. Whether they listen or not, you must speak my words." Ezekiel became more than a prophet. He was a living symbol of judgment, hope, and restoration, carrying God's message to a broken people who often refused to listen. His visions are as terrifying as they are hope-filled, revealing a God who confronts sin but never abandons his people. Welcome to Deep Bible Stories, where we uncover the astonishing truths of God's Word. Ezekiel's story isn't just ancient history, it's a message of hope and purpose for us today. If this speaks to your heart, share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Let's begin this incredible journey together. Imagine this. The sky rips open and a storm unlike anything you've ever seen approaches, a swirling cloud, flashing lightning and fire blazing within. You hear the roar of rushing winds, the crackle of flames, and suddenly you see it, a vision so vivid, so otherworldly, it feels like your very soul is trembling. This was the moment Ezekiel's life changed forever. The book of Ezekiel begins not with a gentle introduction, but with a thunderous explosion of glory, a vision of God's presence unlike anything described before or since. Ezekiel, sitting by the Kibar River with fellow exiles, was likely lost in thought about his shattered homeland when it happened. The heavens opened, and he saw a storm coming from the north, a direction often symbolic of God's intervention. The storm wasn't just natural, it was alive, filled with divine energy. Emerging from the heart of the storm were four creatures. Ezekiel could barely find words to describe them. Each had four faces. A human face symbolizing intelligence, a lion's face for majesty, an ox's for strength, and an eagle's for swiftness. They weren't just static beings. They moved with purpose, darting back and forth with the speed of lightning. Their bodies gleamed like burnished bronze, and their wings created a sound like rushing waters. And then there were the wheels. Oh, the wheels! Ezekiel saw wheels intersecting within each other, glittering like chrysolite, with rims covered in eyes. These weren't ordinary wheels. They could move in any direction without turning. Imagine witnessing a chariot so advanced, so beyond human comprehension. It seemed alive. The wheels moved in perfect synchronization with the creatures, directed by the Spirit of God. Above the creatures, Ezekiel saw a gleaming expanse, an awe-inspiring firmament that seemed to separate heaven from earth. And there, on a throne of sapphire, sat the figure of a man. But this wasn't just a man. This was a vision of God's glory. Radiance surrounded him, a rainbow-like brilliance emanating from his presence, a sign of both majesty and mercy. Ezekiel fell face down in terror and awe. This vision was no random spectacle. It was a revelation of God's nature and his desire to be with his people, even in exile, even in their rebellion. The throne on wheels symbolized that God's presence wasn't confined to the temple back in Jerusalem. He could go anywhere, reaching his people in their darkest places. But the wheels, the creatures, the storm, what did it all mean? Each detail carried profound significance. The creatures' four faces represented the completeness of God's rule over creation, while their unceasing motion pointed to his active involvement in the world. The eyes on the wheels eyed his